The UK is willing to put boots on the ground and planes in the air. That is what Prime Minister Keir Starmer said this morning at the coalition summit that was held in the UK. It was, I think, about 16 different world leaders, including Prime Minister Trudeau and the President of the EU, Ursula von der Leyen, and of course, President Zelensky was there as well. You can read about this all in The Guardian. I highly recommend them as a news source. They did a really, really good breakdown of what went on today. Overall, the leaders decided they were still going to continue giving military aid to Ukraine, and that any lasting peace deal would have to, number one, involve Ukraine at the table, and number two, include security for Ukraine. And the third part is the Western nations making sure that Ukraine would be able to defend themselves if Russia did attack again in the future. Starmer also said that he still thinks that Trump is a reliable ally, and my personal take is that's probably a little politics on the world stage. Zelensky also, for those wondering, did meet with King Charles, and we don't know what was said there, but they did meet in Sandringham. But Ursula von der Leyen, I am so sorry for people that I'm butchering her name. I haven't had coffee yet this morning. The president of the EU basically said they need to make sure that Europe is armed, and they need to make Ukraine into what she called a steel porcupine, basically making them undigestible from Europe, which I thought was quite poetic and very apt. The Prime Minister of Poland, Donald Tusk, said that there were plans that the EU was unveiling next week, and he said that they would send a clear message that the EU was not open for blackmail or aggression. But he also pointed out that there are some EU countries that are worried about the euro and things that would be the fallout of this. There's a lot of complicated pieces going on with Europe. You know, these are a lot of different countries, and they have history of wars happening there. So I can understand the fears. As for Trudeau, this is what he had to say. In 2014, Russia chose to invade Ukraine, to occupy Crimea and parts of eastern Ukraine. For that, they were kicked out of the G7, and in 2022, they chose to violate the existing ceasefire and invaded Ukraine with the intention of taking Kyiv in 3 days and the entire country in 3 weeks. That has failed. Russia continues to try to fight to claim more land in Ukraine. We could see an end to this war tomorrow if Russia decided to stop its illegal invasion of Ukraine. On Friday in the Oval Office, President Zelensky pointed out in so many words that Vladimir Putin is a liar and a criminal and cannot be trusted to keep his word in any way, shape, or form, because he has demonstrated time and time again that he will break any agreements. I stand with Vladimir Zelensky, and I stand with the people of Ukraine. For those who aren't aware, Canada has a long-standing relationship with Ukraine, and I think maybe people outside of Canada don't recognize this, but Canada has the largest group of Ukrainians outside of Ukraine and Russia. 4% of our country is directly or has Ukrainian heritage, so they're either immediately from Ukraine or their parents, grandparents are from Ukraine. This has been a long-standing relationship between Canada and Ukraine, so we will always come to their defense. What this means for Canada and the continued threats to annexation for our country, I don't know, but I am glad to see that the world leaders are recognizing the danger and aggression that's happening in Russia. I think there's going to be a very interesting week ahead.